Told at the moment, OT won't cover, but anybody that's on Twitter and everything like that would have seen it because OT's completely silent. Guess what OT's talking about at the moment when this is happening about the Tonish stuff? Guess what they're talking about? They talk about Baby Shark and how it's hit 7 billion views on YouTube. And they're too busy talking about that. And they're trying to say to the people of Ireland, look the other way. Nothing's happening. Look the other way. Taoiseach Farka gives us ridiculous sums of money out of your pocket. We're getting 10 million extra off the Irish government. Ha ha! We're screwing over the Irish people in OT. We don't care about the Irish people. We're too busy worrying about our pockets. And Leo is the one that's helping them out too much. And they won't talk about it. They're simply that they're talking about some fucking things that happen in other countries. And again, it doesn't affect Ireland that much. If this was Donald Trump, as I said in the tweet, if this was Donald Trump, and again, it's just fairness. If this is done at the time Donald Trump, the tax returns, and obviously that's probably fake news, but the OT nearly went ballistic to cover the literature, just saying, look at Donald Trump, he owns this amount of money and he refuses to pay tax, and OT was just go mad about it. And then when Leo Varadkar does something, they don't talk about it. They refuse the time Leo Varadkar went up to the park, they didn't talk about it. The Russian news agency talked about it. A Russian news agency talked about Leo in the park, the Irish PM in the park. But OT never mentioned it once, never talked about it once. And the same with Gofgate, they got it very, very hard to talk about it because they didn't want to talk about it, and they were waging at the Irish Examiner for mentioning it, and they're waging at the Village magazine for mentioning it. Like, they absolutely OT be waging at them because, again, OT gets government funds and they don't like upsetting their masters. Because, again, you can see the hypocrisy here. Because, again, Leo's done something wrong, and me whole mountain is saying, I'm sure was in good faith in the rest of this bollocks. And nothing to be done about it. He broke the law, because, again, in the law, you can't leak a government document. A document to an unregistered person like his friend, a GP, so in a different organisation. Obviously broke the law and he should lose his public office, he should resign. But no, that won't happen. Nobody chatting. No, the government, again, there's no pushback. Again, this is what I'm trying to say. Some people are pushing back, people like me are pushing back. And saying that he should resign, because again, he done this. If we done this, we'd end up in prison. Simple as that. If I done this, I end up in prison. Just because I'm not with the government's agenda, I end up in prison. As simple as that. Because again, I tell you this story, and I'll talk about this later on. There's a community development project happening around Cavan. I knew about this last week before it was announced, and it was announced today. Head of Hopefully it's announced it today, about funding. And I'll talk about that later. If I said that last week, I probably would end up in prison. If I said that earlier, because again, I didn't have permission. I knew about it, but I didn't have permission to say anything about it publicly. But again, that just goes to show you I wasn't allowed to say anything until it was officially said by the department or head of Humphreys. And that's, again, and I'm sure people would say that's the right thing to do, because again, it's up to them. I just found out on the news, I suppose. Because, I was happened to be just, finding out something else of head of Humphreys, and I found out about it. So, it was no harm. But, so yeah, it's just, you just have to wonder. Like, again, the media are covering for Leo. The media are trying so hard to try and protect Leo. Some media, and the OT's doing their best. The OT's working overtime. But again, this government, the one thing OT can't protect this government from is their stupidity in doing things. Because again, they can bang their heads, like literally they end up banging, like literally they walk up and then they just bang their head against the wall and continuously bang their head against the wall. Because again, OT can only cover them for so much. Like, OT can't save them from everything. OT are doing their best, don't worry about that. OT are doing their best to try and spin some narrative saying that Leo is a God saviour. He's trying to save the people of Ireland from these evil documents. So, like, this is what they come up with. This will be the narrative they try to spin the next week or something like that. And they're trying to say he's the God saviour. And loads of people homeless, housing crisis, trolley crisis, like, wait list as far as the eye can see. OT won't mention that. OT won't say this is the man responsible. This is the man who was Taoiseach, who wouldn't do anything to help anybody out. Who would just refuse point back to do anything about it. And only cared for the people's back pocket. Because again, you have to wonder. Because again, this is the man that came up with the €2,000 extra money for TDs and Dáil Éireann. And then giving barely €3 to people who are on fuel allowance. And living the loan allowance €5 and then taking the money straight back off them and back into his pocket. This is the person we have in government, and he won't lose his government, and nothing to be done about it. Nothing to be done about it. The same time Phil Hogan, the only reason something was done about it, because people kicked up fuck. People literally went ballistic, because again, they gift us, how would I put it, they give us their demands the day before, and then they end up going off and doing whatever they wanted, and then didn't listen to their own words. Again, you couldn't make this up. You really couldn't make this up. They went and done the wrong thing, and they did face the public consequences for that. But OT didn't do much. And as I said, OT didn't do much to help anybody, and it seems they're not doing much now. But anyway, thank you for watching. Take care, everybody, and bye.